Oh no! It's the insanity! The insanity! Yeah!
Cruising down the back roads, windows roll low, with the music blasting, bass and that flow. Remembering the bonfire, laughing with my crew, jamming on the corner, soaking up the view. Every beat's a memory, every song's a spark, feeling so alive, yeah, out here in the dark. Cranking up the radio, rolling through life, loving making memories, music cranks high. Do you feel that freedom? Can you hear the call? Those back road memories calling to us all. The dreams are still burning, laughter is the same, sound still echo loud, can you hear that name? Life was so electric, every day the song, hearts on the highway, we could do no wrong. Chasing every sunset, world spin around, living for the moment, man, we're going down. I can feel that fire still burning in my soul, when nobody's watching, I bring my rock and roll. Those back road memories calling to us all. Calling to us all. Down the back roads.
Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. What's up, guys? Man, what's going on with this camera? Oh man, hold on a minute. Hold on. Hold on. It's off just a little bit. My wife was in here messing with my room earlier. She moves stuff around. She don't even realize she's moving it like a quarter of an inch here and a half inch there. Before you know it, shit's all over the place in the wrong place. Everything's messed up. But, you know, she means well and I love her for it. So I say I love her for pain. I love her for happiness. I love her for everything she brings, no matter what it is. How are my fine feathered friends this fine Sunday evening? Looks like El Fuego's in the chat. Good old Dubby's in the chat. Talking about Jimmy Pittman. Yeah, Jimmy was at the show today at the Carmel Car Audio Bass Wars. Him and his lovely wife were there hosting our show and having a lot of fun with everybody, and it was a good show. It was an excellent show. Let's see, Zaz69. What's up? What's up, Zaz, man? What's up? Corn Nuts in the house. Zaz Kramer, there's two Zazes in the house tonight, boy. Oh, wait a minute. That looks like the same person. I don't even know, man. That's confusing as hell. Oh, I get it. He's on two different accounts. Gotcha, man. We nailed that shit. We nailed it. We nailed it. Bobby Burgett said, I got everybody in here. Yeah, Bobby, you took care of business, my friend. Michael Smith. Yo, Shane, what's up? What's up? What's up, Michael Smith? How are you today, sir? Jason Ewing in the house. El Fuego is in the house. Man, everybody's here. John I can't pronounce your last name, but damn it, son, you're in the house, and that's all that counts. I ain't got to have enough brains to pronounce your name. It's a normal name, damn it. And I said John. It's actually Johan. Johan. man, having people all over the world watch this show can be very confusing sometimes. And you're probably from the United States, born and raised. That's how stupid I am. I'm just an ignorant, American. I own that shit. Hello, base wife.
Here's your rat poison.
She brought me my rat poison. She brings me my rat poison in a shot glass. Guys, if you don't get your meds in a shot glass, you ain't doing it right. I guess you want me to do that now?
Yes. Get out of here. Yeah.
She's letting the cats in my space. Okay. Now bring me a soda, please. Thank you, darling. Got to bargain when you can, I took my pills, so I figured I was good for one little quick shot if I got it off fast enough. Thank you, darling. I am running low. I don't hit my camera again. Oh yeah, I got you, man. Yeah. The studio build. I have a thing. I'm working on a thing. Guys, I got something else really cool coming up. Y'all are going to get a kick out of this shit. I don't have it in here, or I'd show it to you. But we're going to have some fun. You remember, if you guys watched, if you're old school members, you'll remember back when I did the all the different power cables and was testing the temperature which it took to melt the power cables, OFC copper. I tested everybody. How many Diet Cokes a day? As many as it takes. I have no limit. The bartender just keeps bringing the damn things. Because Diet Coke has the highest caffeine content of any of the soft drinks, any of the standard soft drinks. I do like a good Diet Coke. And I drink a lot of them. But, see, y'all remember me melting all the wires and stuff. I have fun with that. If you guys haven't seen any of that stuff, I got several videos where I take all these different manufacturers' power, wire and alt gauge and find out which one of them melts, burns, how bad it happens whenever you expose it to a lot of heat from the outside. We discovered some interesting things about this stuff. So most the point being, of course, that most car audio branded wire is really good at abrasion resistance, but has a very poor heat resistance. Very poor. We did find several wires that literally did not care about heat. We could not melt them for nothing. They just did not care about the heat. Completely indifferent. So there were some interesting findings with that. However, I have procured myself through one of our teammates a big old capacitor. And I say capacitor, I'm trying to be dumb about it. A cat bank. It's a Maxwell 24 volt cat bank. So I'm 99% sure 99% sure that it contains 8 3-volt capacitors, 3400 farad, 8 3-volt, 3400 farad capacitors. But the idea is we can break it down. Maybe. We're going to find out. We're going to find out about all these things. First of all, we're going to find out if we can charge a 24 volt capacitor bank at a 12 volt rating, if it'll just charge and set at that level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook it up to a battery and let the voltage come up to match the battery, and then just see how it responds to that. Try putting a load on it, and seeing if it just stabilizes and stays. It should float at the same level as the battery, which is an interesting observation. Don't know for sure how that's going to go. It will be interesting. It should. Now, however, it's not good for a capacitor. From what I understand, it's not good for a capacitor to function under 50% or 60% of its voltage range for any length of time. So even if it works, it's not the ideal scenario. What's better is to get the voltage capacity, the voltage range closer to the car audio output of your particular system. In my case, I think I'm going to wind up doing a 6S setup, which is like 18 volts, something like that, which gives me plenty of headroom. If I do 3S, it'll be around 15 volts, or excuse me, 5S, it'll be around 15 volts, and that's cutting it awful close to that 14.8 that I charge at. So I'd probably go 6S. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to experiment with this cat bank. We may do some explosive kinds of shit, making pieces of metal disappear. I'm going to do some stupid shit with this capacitor, guys. Just a heads up. There's going to be some cool videos coming up where I do some stupid shit with this capacitor. But then we're going to ultimately probably build a bank out of it. We're going to do that. And then we're going to mount it somewhere. We're going to put it on something. We're going to make it work, make it do stuff. This is going to be some interesting little content. I've also got the wiring to finish the amp board that I'm looking at it across the room over there. The amp board I'm working on, which is going to be, I'm pretty sure, right behind my head. So instead of Big Jeff back here, you'll see equipment. I ain't sure exactly how this is all going to play out yet, but I think that's what I'm planning on doing, is putting it right about here, the bottom of the board, right above where my chair is when I lean back. And then having the amps up this way, and then you won't be able to see the stuff that's above it. So that's dumb. I don't know. But anyway, that's kind of what I got in my brain. If I take the overlay out, and you guys, yeah, see now this is, yeah, my camera is all messed up, man. Y'all, I blame my wife. It should be just about like that, and it got all whacked out. But the idea is to have it back here somewhere behind me. Let's see what we got here in the questions. I'm still trying to figure that out completely. Lex HP. What amp would I need to run 2 Slapz Street Pro 8s and 2 of the Super Tweeters? That's almost, let me make sure. You know what? I don't care. Whenever I know something, I still like to pull up the manual or pull up the information and double check myself. I'm not a big fan of just diving in and making a statement without confirming the shit that I'm saying before I do. I've never been that way. It's always been one of my things. The Street Pro 8, it's going to be an 8 ohm or a 16 ohm. So you want to, I typically recommend doubling the power that you think you want when you're dealing with an 8 ohm speaker. It's not going to make that much of a difference because 8 ohm, you'd think the 8 ohm speaker would be significantly less output than a 4 ohm, but no. These things are so efficient that you could play this on 20 watts and it's still going to blow your brains out. But that said, I tend to try to double up on the power. And let's see here. That 8 ohm is rated at 300 watts RMS. Yes. So I would try to get it around 500 watts or 600 watts RMS each. And then you said two of the super tweeters. I think they're rated at, what was it? See, again, I don't like to speak until I'm sure. Go back and check. I don't like being wrong. So 140 watts RMS. I was thinking 160. See, I wasn't far off, but I wasn't right. So you want about 300 on. Well, you really don't need this much power. I mean, I'm seriously, you don't need this much power. But I can tell you, I'm basically running the same setup, except I'm running the 10s instead of the 8s. But other than that, it's the same basic setup. And I am running the 2K.4. Let me get the nomenclature correct. Yeah, that's it. The Slapz Car Audio Shock 2K.4, 500 by 4. That's a perfect solution for that. That's going to give you exactly the right amount of power for those 10s or those 8s, and a little more than you need for the tweeters, but they can handle, once you got to figure they're going to cut that power in half. So, and then besides that, you can always turn them down. You won't run those tweeters, but probably about, if you run this amp and you run the tweeters on 2 channels and the 8s on 2 channels, you can run the 8s at full power. If you're running like 8 or 10,000 watts on your subs, you can run the 8s at full power, or, up until clipping, and the tweeters at like probably a quarter power, and cross over the 8s at, well, the 8s are going to fall off. Hang on a minute. I'll be specific here. Again, I know they're going to fall off somewhere around 5,000 hertz, I think. Let me go back and look. Yeah, 5.1K. Okay. So they're going to fall off around 5,000 hertz. And the tweeters are rated down to like 2,000 or 2,500. So what I would typically do, the way I have mine set up, is I rolled off the 8s at 3,000 hertz, and I roll the tweeters off at 3,000 hertz, and I cross them both over with a 24 dB roll off on a Linkwitz-Riley slope, and at the same exact frequency, and that blends very well. It blends them really, really, really nicely at 3,000 hertz. Now, again, I'm playing the 10, but they're close enough that this math should still work for you. And I do have the capacitors in there. I think the capacitors actually are at a higher frequency. So if you've got a good DSP, and you're paying attention to what you're doing with drivers, and you're not just throwing them in there and slamming it and hoping for the best. If you're actually paying attention to them, you can leave the capacitors off, and you'll get down into that 3,000 hertz range. If you leave the capacitors on there, I think that roll off is pretty high. It's like up around 5,000 or 6,000. So if you're going to leave the caps on, you might just let the mid driver play until it runs out, and then let the cap stay on, and the tweeters will take over. If you're just going to throw power at them and let them rip, that'll work. But if you're going to actually tune them and apply all the correct tuning to them, then I'd cross them both over at 3,000 hertz. Travis, what's up? Travis is in the house. Let's see here. Hopefully that answered your question, Lex. And then some. Bobby B, messing with El Fuego. Bobby B with the build and the century, considering that it's his time frame for completion. El Fuego, man. I love it. Jason said, what's up, everyone? Brandon says, make sure I have the name correct. Brandon, yes, it's not something that I'm just looking at and reading the wrong word. I have a fun project coming up, adding speakers and an amplifier to my 1987 Ford Ranger 2.3 liter turbo diesel once it gets out of the repair shop. Is that a standard cab or an extended cab? I have questions. I have a bunch of questions, actually. 87, I think 87 was still that weird square kind of body thing, which means it's like almost guaranteed to be a standard cab. Um, I think it was like 90 or so whenever they changed to that more rounded body, but I could be wrong about that. I had the 90s model, the more rounded front end, the four banger with the two spark plugs per cylinder, four cylinder with 8 spark plugs, yeah, 5 speed on the floor, and had one of the best sounding stereo systems in it that I've ever put in a vehicle. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. It sounded so phenomenal. It sounded so good. Every time I went to the stereo shop, one of the guys that worked there always ran out and jumped in my truck and turned on the radio just so he could listen to it while I was in there looking around doing stuff. It was that they just everybody wanted to hear it. It was really good. Joanne said hi, Jason. Johan Johan said hi, Jason. Brandon said standard cab 2-door. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, um, and you don't know what you're doing yet. You're probably if it's the one with the rounded kind of front end, not the squared off one. You have a removable dash trim by the window, and what I found is that the in that vehicle, bouncing your tweeter off the windshield works extremely well. It doesn't work in every vehicle, and on a lot of vehicles, bouncing the tweeter off the glass, it sounds like complete garbage. But in that vehicle, it sounded great. Guys, what I did was I took that piece of trim out, and you took it all the way out, and I cut a hole in both ends, mounted my tweeters in that trim, and then run the wires up through the dash, put the piece back in place, and had the tweeters firing straight up toward the glass, as far to the left and right as you can get them. And then I had a set of coaxials in the doors. Um, and I'm trying to remember what the name brand on those was. I think it was Earthquake. I think everything I used was from Earthquake at the time. Because the stereo shop that I was dealing with, I dealt in Earthquake. This is before the internet was really a thing. So yeah, you couldn't really order shit. So wherever it was in your town, that's what you got. This is how things were worked. But those speakers were interesting too because the tweeters and those coaxials actually had a little thermal breaker on them. And I have yet to see this again, and not seen it one single time since then. But if you got those tweeters hot, cranking it hard, they would turn off. The tweeters would turn off and would stay off for a little while, then they would come back on. They had like a thermal switch in them. It was annoying as hell, but it kept your tweeters from melting down. I'm assuming it was so annoying, and that's probably why they stopped doing it. But they were really cool. Now, the tweeters in the dash took care of that. You didn't miss the tweeters. When they went away, I still had so much tweeter coming out of that windshield. And I had 2/8 on a seal box. And I had all of that set up on a Boss 5-channel. It was an old Boss amp. It was used when I got it. And it sounded great. This was not no super loud system. That said, it was juke hard. I mean, it got down. You enjoyed it. It wasn't heavy bass. It was more mixed. The blend was, a balanced blend of music. Sounded phenomenal, though. I miss that stereo. It's one of the best sounding stereos I've ever had, and it was fairly simple, but it had all the right components in all the right places, and it just freaking worked. Um, Stu popped in, just dropping in to show some love. Still in the shop making sawdust, and the world needs sawdust, man. Somebody's got to make the dust, elsewise we don't have any. We don't want to have a sawdust shortage. Lex HP said, thanks, wanted some loud door speakers. Got the single 18 SAV2 Sundown on 4K. She drowns everything out in my Ford Fusion. Yeah. You'll be able to, that setup on the that 2K.4 with those speakers, you won't have any problem with that. That'll take care of that problem right now. that same basic setup keeps up with my two 8Ks. So, and 415s and a freaking ported flat wall. You'll have no problems with that. To be honest, I have to run my mids and highs turned down quite a bit uh, to keep from murdering your ears whenever we're doing demos and stuff in there. So when I crank the subs up, they keep up. They have no problem keeping up. It's pretty impressive. Stu, Stu, the audio guru in the house, Elfigo says. Still have the two DBXI 12s in a storage not used in 4 years. Well, hopefully you don't have those speakers stored with the magnet up sitting on a shelf, as it will destroy your spiders. Pressing in on that surround. So, guys, if you got subwoofers stored somewhere, put them in a bag, like put them in a trash bag, tie it up, and then set them with the cone facing up on your storage space. Do not store them with the magnet facing up. If you do, you go pull it out and look at it, you're going to see that your magnets, your spider's got a big old sway in it, and it may or may not ever come back if you get it stuck that way. Sometimes you can get them to play them a bit, and you'll get them to come back and line back up, but it screws up your 0 point on your subs, and yes, it's not good for them. Anyway, it seems like the right thing to do. Store them with a magnet up, kind of protects the speaker and shit. Trust me, that's not the right way to do it. Let's see here. Hopefully that's good. Ha! Look at there. There's the hopper in the house. My homeboy. He's out in I don't know, Arizona or New Mexico or some stupid place out in the desert out there. He's out there close to you, El Fuego. What's up, man? Yeah, we're just chilling like a villain. Here you go, Jerry. That's for you, brother.
Crushing on these tacos, we buy the Fiesta. Guac on the side, man, you know it's the best. Lettuce and salsa, stack it high, make it pop. Crunch in my mouth, can't stop, won't drop. Scissor in, flavor's cold is so sweet. After one taco, I'm in for a repeat. Bite after bite, got me dancing in my seat. Hitting up the taqueria, can't face defeat. Taco love in every single bite. Feeling good, every feast all night.
Kingman, Arizona, that's correct. What's happening? OG Super Chat. Hell yeah, man. Jerry said, don't forget they're not trash, hence being a trash bag. A trash bag works better than anything else. I mean, if you got like a plastic bag, but you want to wrap them in something, because if not, the paper will sit there and dehydrate, and they'll start breaking down. And also, you don't want them to get super humid or super dry. You want to keep them on their on their normal plane. Hands yellow, heart red. Not sure. Sometimes these little pneumoflitches don't show up very well. They show up as words. So I don't understand why that happens, but it does happen. It's quite annoying. What's happening, OG? Sup, chat? Taco Sunday, man. Every day is taco day. Hey, guys, look. Wait. Hold on a second. Where's it at? You see, I just got, look at that. That's earlier. I just got done. I had to stop on the way to the house and pick up a couple of 5 layers, actually 4 or 5 layers. Watch this. We're going to fix this blurry shit. Dun, dun. Did it work? Yes, it did. It's a magic touch. Kenneth Wayne, while Walmer said, I'm here. Well, we can get started now, y'all. So everybody that was waiting on Kenneth to show up, you don't have to wait no more. Kenneth is in the house. El Fuego said, I'm looking for a 3K amp for my audio room. The Shock 3K? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend anything else. I can tell you this about the shock amps so far, guys, and this is just coming. This is me showing love to stuff that works, right? Um, I have had zero issues out of the 3 shock amps that I have. There's no noises, there's no hums or no ground noise, there's nothing happening. There's no types of hissing or anything. They're very clean. Um, they make solid power. I've beat the bejesus out of these amps and the speakers, and they just don't freaking care. So yeah, I can't. There's absolutely. I mean, I could say, oh, you should go get this or you should get that or whatever, but there's no reason whatsoever why you would want to spend more money on a different name brand when these things provide. It just is what it is. Um, Anything else would be just buying something that's more expensive just because you want to buy something that's more expensive. That's literally the only reason. Um, the 2 8Ks, I've got them pretty warm. I got one of them pretty warm on multiple really hot days of doing long demos and stuff. But I've never had one shut off. Now I've got those 4 little tiny fans on my homemade cooling system. The big booty Judy, that's what we're calling it, and they barely get warm now. And I was out there today, son. I was melting. One of our teammates was doing a demo in his minivan and blew the windshield out of his minivan doing a demo. We don't mess around, guys. We had one girl destroy all 3 our 15-inch subs. The cones were just absolutely destroyed. The cones literally busted and launched. Pieces of the subs flew out of the car. I mean, she literally blew them up. They all still played. The coils were still fine. Just destroyed the cones. Uh, our little meet gets serious, man. These people were putting down 60s and high 50s and stuff like that. We were doing stuff. Got some mid 60s. We had Charles hit like a 164 or 165 in his minivan, and he hadn't even got that thing dialed yet. So we do some crazy shit, man. Y'all are not showing up for these shows I'm telling you about. You're missing out on some really cool stuff. A lot of big stuff happens in a small show. So yeah, I would absolutely recommend the Shock 3K. Up we go. Brandon, so I'll be putting in a 5-channel hybrid class D AB 3200 800 watt RMS with a pair of 10-inch 2000 watt 500 watt that's confusing RMS subs and a 50 farad capacitor. Upgrading the alternator to a 320 amp. Okay, let me go back over this again. Now that I've read the whole thing, I can maybe make sense of it because there's a lot of information in there. 5-channel hybrid class D AB, I got that. So with 3200 watts, I don't know what that's. There's 2 different watt ratings. 800 watts RMS with a pair of 10-inch 2000 watts. Oh, because that's the max rating. Okay. So 800 watts RMS with a pair of 500 watt RMS subs and a 50 farad capacitor. Okay. All right. So your capacitor is not going to hurt you. And it's not going to help your power any. You don't have nearly enough farads to have this capacitor act anything like a battery. And as an example, if you're pulling like 500 amps out of this thing, it's going to last like a second, maybe 2. That's it. It's just going to nosedive. It's not designed for that. What it will do is sharpen up your initial bass hits, give your drums more impact and more quick snap to your low mids and stuff. It's going to give more crisp and impactful snap to that, and it's going to help to balance so that if you're pulling big huge chunks of power and then back up again on bass hits, it's going to help to eliminate the dips in your voltage when that happens. But you're still going to need a good battery of some kind. And now you're not looking at a ton of power. I mean, if I'm reading this correctly and you're looking at 800 watts RMS and then 500 watts RMS, I don't know what the other wattage ratings are, but if that's what you're looking at, you're probably not going to need a serious upgrade in batteries. But if you notice that your voltage is, falling quickly when you first turn the system on, if it's dropping fairly quickly, then that's an indicator that you need more storage. You're going to need to pick up a lithium bank, at least 22 amp hours or something like that, at least, just to stabilize your voltage. And if you notice the voltage is falling slowly over like the course of a song, that's more indicative of alternator and wiring not being up to snuff. You're not able to put that power back in. But it still may be just a battery issue as well, because your AGM batteries will only take 0.3 to 0.5 C charge, constantly. So if you're pulling 100 amps out of an AGM, you can only put in 30 to 50 amps. So you're going to slowly drop the voltage of that AGM battery. That'll cause your voltage to slowly go down. Going to a trunk under lithium 5 kV2 will solve most of the problems most people have with their electrical in their vehicle for car audio. It just will. It gives you so much instant power and so much storage and so much low resistance power able to get into it and out of it. It just stabilizes the system in ways that you really can't do any other way. You could buy a different lithium battery to accomplish the same thing, but the quality may be questionable. The production, the quality of the produced piece, the assembled banks, may be not as good as you want it to be. That's where you're going to sacrifice, or they may just be overcharging you for what they're doing. So that's why I recommend trunk under lithium, because you're going to get good, solid equipment at a reasonable price, and that's something that's hard to find anymore. Of course, I have a discount code CAE10, save 10% off of whatever you buy there. But yes, that's a good setup, but you are going to need some more storage. Let's see here. Marco, sound deadening will not make your car louder. It will make it sound cleaner. And you're correct. I know I have the title of the live up there. I'm going to eventually get to that. I had to put together a show today because I wanted to do a Sunday show. We have a Sunday show planned, and I was not really prepared. But I thought about that, because we were at the show today, and I'm sitting in a couple of different vehicles. So I made some notes, and I'm always doing that. I'm always learning and absorbing like a big old car audio sponge. And one of the vehicles, actually both the vehicles I sit in today and listen to quite a bit, had the same thing in common. Neither of them really had a whole lot of lows, and that was kind of upsetting because I like my lows, but both of them had really, really, really tight cabin. There's a different sound you get. So and I really appreciated it, right? So whenever you listen to bass in a vehicle, and I compare it to my cabin is not nearly as tight. You got the lows, you got all the stuff going on. And you get in a vehicle that has a tight cabin where they've really wrenched down on everything that could potentially vibrate. The sound is totally different. The bass just sounds so much cleaner. Okay. There's no extra noises. And I had been not getting demos for a while. So I've gotten used to the noises that my bass makes in my cabin. And it's not noisy. I wasn't even paying attention to the fact that there was little nuance, echoes of things that were happening in there. They didn't even register anymore because I've gotten used to listening to them. And then I got into other vehicles and I'm really like, man, these things are just so, it's like you're in a concrete box. There's just literally nothing making any other sound except for the subwoofer. And it changes how it all sounds. It really sounded good. And it brought me back into reality knowing, hey, I need to step up my cabin sound treatment game, right? So you're absolutely correct. Sound deadening will not make your vehicle louder. In fact, it may actually make it a little bit lower, a little bit less loud. But it's a game changer in making it sound good. You're 100% right. And of course, you knew you were 100% right. I'm just acknowledging that I totally agree with you. So yeah, I've got to step up my game on my sound treatment because my cabin is not as good as I thought it was. And I wouldn't have realized it had I not I jumped into some other vehicles today and remembered just how deadened you can get one. And when you get it right, man, when you get a cabin right, it totally changes how everything in it sounds. Not just the bass, but everything sounds to be, the more noise you can get rid of that's not the music, the better the music sounds. It's really weird that taking sound away will improve the sound that's already there without having to do anything else to that sound that's already there. Just getting rid of the noises can make existing equipment and speakers sound much louder, much brighter, and much more full and rich just because you get rid of the unwanted noises. It's a bigger game changer than most people think it is. Dee Coordinate said, Dee Audio M2500 half bridge goodness in a full bridge size. There you go, baby. That's Coordinate. How can the Slapz amps be so inexpensive? They are basically clones of Sundown full bridge amps. At least the Shock series are pretty much clones of Sundown full bridge amps. They are made in China. And that's all I can tell you. Slapz isn't charging a big, huge, fat markup, which is why. So the fact that Slapz is dealing with me and a few other creators out there for their sole advertisement, right? We're the ones that advertise. This is where their advertisement comes from. They're not having to pay some companies some ridiculous advertising budget to push a brand out there. And therefore, they don't have to pass that cost on to the public that buys their equipment. They're also a fairly small company, so they don't have to pay hundreds of employees and deal with all that. The overhead is low. The production cost is low. Overhead is low. The only thing we're dealing with is tariffs, and that did make the price on a lot of stuff go up a little bit. But it's just the economy of scale. And in this case, it works out that the smaller scale you have to a point, the better economy you can build into it and pass those savings on to the public. And then people get something cool without paying ridiculous prices for it. That's what it boils down to. It's no different than buying these amps with any other manufacturer's name on them. The difference is how much it costs to run those companies. That's really, you're paying for a name. It's honestly what's happening. You're paying for a name, and that name costs that company a lot to put on that equipment. It is what it is. Hopefully that answered your question. Lex, what's some cheaper sound deadening options? Noiko and Killmat. Those are two for the typical sound deadener that everyone's referring to, Noico and Killmat. Noico. It's a kind of a gold, or at least it used to be, a gold colored stuff. It comes with a little diamond pattern, and it's made in Russia, if I remember correctly. And then I don't remember where Killmat's made, but both of those two are really inexpensive. And is it worth it? Yes. Honest to God, it is. There's basically in my lexicon, my brain, there's basically two ways to sound deaden. One is to stop panels from vibrating excessively, stop rattles and all that stuff, and stop all the general noises from happening. This is something everybody needs to at least get to, which is kind of where I'm at now. Two, the second one, is to just over dampen and over thicken and lock everything down completely. That's where I need to go to. And honestly, there's not anything in between that. Do the bare minimum or go bananas. I need to go bananas. I haven't. And like I said, I didn't realize how lacking my setup was in good sound deadening and dampening and noise control until I jumped in somebody else's vehicle. And like, whoa, man. Because like I'm hearing the bass, but there's nothing. It's just like when the bass note played and there's no music, it's just quiet behind that. And you guys may think us hardcore bass heads don't care about shit like that. You might even think that you don't care about shit like that. But I promise you, you'll notice it when you go from one vehicle to another. One vehicle that's really on point with their sound dampening and keeping everything hushed down and quiet and locked down. You may not notice it in that vehicle, but when you go and get in one that's not as dampened, you will notice that. It's a big difference. It makes a huge difference. It's worthwhile. Rick Ross, is there a car audio show August the 24th at Carmel Car Audio Shop? January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So about a month from now. That's possible. Let me see if I can find out. I can't remember when the next show is. So let me see. Carmel. Car show? What's it going to be listed under? I'm just doing some random searches. Midwest, June the 29th, 2025. No, that was me, actually. Yeah, that's me. What I'm looking for. Carmel Car Audio. So, Sunday, that was this one. That was today. I'm trying to find out if there's one, if I can see it on the schedule somewhere. I'm just confirming. That sounds right. That sounds correct. The Space Wars was today, yeah. Saturday, August the 9th at 10 a.m. That was Midwest. That was a GP show. I'm not entirely sure, man, but I think that sounds reasonable. I'll once I get that information and can confirm everything, I'll put it up on the YouTube information so you guys will be able to dig up. Fuego said a warhorse for the win, or fight warhorse for the win, yeah. Okay, I got a question. Is it better to relocate your lithium from under the hood? Yes. Don't put your lithium under the hood. Lithium does not like hot. It really doesn't like cold either, but it damn sure don't want that heat from under the hood. Get that sucker out from under there. I know there's some stuff that's rated to be put under the hood, Put that shit inside, man. Lithium is like you. It likes what you like. It likes people temperatures, not motor temperatures. So yes, get rid of that. Just move that shit. Move it. Jason said, Fuego, I'm guessing that they have less overhead employees. That's what I said. So the markup doesn't have to be so high. See, that's exactly what I said. I love it when you guys agree with me. Y'all are so awesome. Um, Alex said, LOL. I've heard my last name butchered all kinds of ways. Yeah, I don't even try to pronounce your last name. I give it up. I give it up, and I had to give it up. Had to put her down. Had to put her down. Uh, Dance Lear. Okay, so yeah. Okay. So the TZ is basically turns into a C. Dantzler. Alex Dantzler. I was trying, man. I was trying so hard. Yeah, so you could just drop the T and it would probably everybody would probably be get it close enough, you know. Danzler. That would sound totally fine. Yeah. The T throws everybody, man. There's too many consonants in there together. Just way too many consonants. W said it's all about panel resonance also. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what, W? It's about no panel resonance. I don't want to hear any resonance resonating at all. Like and that's something you don't even realize how much your stuff is making sound until you're in a vehicle where the stuff don't make any sound. And then you're like, oh, it could sound like that. Or it could not sound like, it could not sound like that. It's crazy, man. Like I said, you need a reality check every once in a while. You need to get somebody else's stuff, and just to remind yourself how awesome your stuff is and how bad your stuff is at the same time. Because everybody's got certain characteristics that they bring to the game. Like my boy, he had I got in his setup, and the radio was just kind of stuck in a hole in there. There was stuff just kind of put together. It was kind of hodgepodge. It was, but the cabin of that vehicle had been worked on so much that it sounded absolutely phenomenal, and his mix was excellent. His blend of mids and highs, spot on, really good, strong mids and highs popped in your face and just come to life. It was a great sounding setup. And I took note of all of those things, and I was also sure to tell him how I felt about that. I was impressed, and I wanted to let people know, hey, man, you may have a shortcoming here or there, but you're really bringing the A game in this department, that department. So we try to do that with each other. There's nothing wrong with having, a deficiency, as long as you're aware of it and you're working to solve it. And I am blurry again, and I'm going to blame Joe Biden. You're going to try that. Let's see here. Audio connections, and we're going to stay blurry. Oh, wait. Oh, wait a minute. Audio connections. Sorry, I'm late. I was working on this box for a subscriber. Well, that's fine. You're excused for that, my friend. You continue on making sawdust, because apparently we're in a short supply and a high demand on the sawdust market. Jason said, I would not cheap out on CLD, especially if it's mentioned vertically or upside down, or if you're in a hot environment. Okay. I'm catching up. For floors, not so hot places, cheap CLD would be an option. He's talking about, I think, putting the battery under the hood. We're trying, guys. There it goes. Hey, you did it. Yeah, man, you're awesome. My camera's awesome. Orion HCA 15, 4 cubic foot box tuned to 26 hertz. Ooh, that's just nasty. Oh, man. Nastiness. That's going to sound great. You need to bring that shit over here. We can listen to that and hook that up. I like the sound of that. Corn nut. Oh, shit. Oh, fuego. Away go, Cornut and Bobby B for Installer of the Year. Wicked clean installs in both of their trucks. Yeah, baby. Uh, Jason said, Zaz, I would never put lithium battery under the hood. Me and Jason, man, I'm telling you, it's surprising how often we think alike in most ways. The heat is just too excessive. It can lead to breakdown and off gassing. In some cases, we go. We don't want to talk about that. It's bad. It's bad. Rock a Party JD. I did Stinger Roadkill, but I switched to Resonix. Nick's product is pricey, but 100% worth it. I concur with that. A good product is worth it. But, when you ask me about a budget offering, I'm going to tell you about some that I personally have used and I feel like are okay, especially considering how inexpensive they are. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. All depends. I switched to her. Worth it, Jason. Jason, thanks. Was curious. If we go, my 84 Accord was never the same after the fire. Yeah, I know, man. I know. Let's see here. Let's go on down here. Oh, well, hell. Let's just get on in here and see what Jerry says. Jerry's going to rap for us, y'all. He said, you screwed it up, though, because it's supposed to be butts, not booties. I like big booties, and I cannot lie. Other brothers can't deny, for as I am driving down the road in my 6'4", clocking, boy, you messed this all up. Straight out of Compton. Forgot the words? No, man. No. That shit was just wrong, dude. You broke all that stuff. Rocket Party, I thought I was golden with just a layer of deadener, but it's a night and day difference once you get that open cell hydrophobic hydrophobic melamine foam and second skin cells. Yeah, it's a big difference whenever you get all that shit really, really silent. That's the key. That's what he's trying to say. He's going on a list, and y'all can pay attention to what he's putting in there, because I know that stuff will work. But the point is not the product to get there. It's where you want to get, the general thing. You want to lock it down. You don't want nothing moving. And you don't realize how much noise something that's not rattling, but still moving makes. Like, for example, if say you got a plastic panel on a dash that's moving when the bass is playing, and you think, okay, it's moving, but it's not rattling, so it's okay, no big deal. But then when you make that sound, when you make that panel stop wiggling, all of a sudden you realize the sound was there, you just never noticed it. That resonance was coloring the sound in the room, in the space, It's kind of game changing. When you get it actually treated properly, things change. It makes a big difference. There's a second level that you hit, a second tier of sound treatment. El Fuego says, I want to see a 24-hour Diet Coke drink off between me and Trump. Oh, Trump ain't got a chance. If he likes the Diet Coke, dude, he can't hang. He ain't got no win. Got no win. None. Zero. And I can. Well, no, I can't. I can't do that. I was going to say I could date his daughter, but I'm married, so yeah, I don't need to do that. Going back to sleep. I only have a few hours left before work. Peace, man. Get that rest. Nice that you showed up. See, Brandon. What a lot of people don't consider about lithium batteries as well is they're highly explosive with water contact. Never recommend under the hood. Okay. Yeah, don't put it under the hood. Um, I'm not sure water contact is really going to be a major issue. You wouldn't want to submerge them, but yeah. So yeah, you don't put it under the hood. Don't put them under the hood. Just don't do that. It's bad. Okay. Okay. It's bad. Okay. Um, yeah. Um, Jeff Moorfield. Hello. Hi. What about the Limitless Lithium Retro Pro 56? They're supposed to be under the hood safe lithium. Okay. So hang on a minute. I'm just gonna. We're just gonna. We're going. We're gonna do it, guys. Just hang on here a minute. I'm gonna let. I'm gonna let this shit. There we go. So, okay. We're going to try it. We're going to try to make the move, and hopefully we don't jack up the sound because you know how bad I am at this. Let me see if I can get this to work right. I want to show you. I'm going to show you guys something. Maybe if I can make it work. Okay. All right. Hang on. We're going to do it now. But y'all pay attention because I won't have to do this more than once. Let's put the audio in here, and hopefully my audio doesn't drop. All right. Can y'all hear me? I want y'all to look at that. I want y'all to look at that. Just look at it. I'm gonna let y'all look at that. Okay. You saw what that came out of, right? Now I don't have to say the words. I don't have to say the words. Um, I don't have to say the words. Y'all take a look at that picture right there. Look at what he asked me, and then look at that picture, that video, and that vehicle that y'all saw. Okay, there you go. I think my point's been made. All right. And I'll just let that one slide right on out the door. Jason said, CLD, yeah, constrained layer, typical butyl rubber or asphalt material, aluminum layer, most common type. I've give up trying to break down the different sound treatments, man, because everyone thinks of one product when it comes to sound treatment. And I just finally said, screw it. I'll just ride the wagon with all the rest of the people, and we'll refer to it all. But yeah, there's many. That's the most common, of course. There's many other types of stuff that's for different jobs. Marco, what's up, Marco? Glad you joined us. Verver, in my opinion, has a good budget sound deadening, especially the 4-layer. I'll have to look into it. I am not familiar with that. Jeff Moorfield, good to know. I didn't know about that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's always good to give everybody, to pass on the knowledge, my friend. Thanks for another fantastic show, and shout out to all my chat brothers. El Fuego, it was nice to have you, and I'm glad you are doing better and everything. Awesome, man. And peace out, El Fuego. Jason said, Jeff, I think it's like the guys who are Team No Fuse. They say, hey, I've not used any fuses for years and never had a problem. Yeah, I know. I was talking to my friend last night. We were talking about, I don't want to get too deep into it because I don't want to drag anybody into a stupid category or anything like that. But we were discussing some other people who were talking about different applications for capacitors and how they can, be used and whatnot. And he mentioned, he's like, you get this, it's so annoying because, these people will say like, man, I did this before, never had a problem. Did that before, never had a problem. And I'm like, yeah, I can shoot a shotgun through that window over there 1,000 times and never kill anybody. But that doesn't mean that it's a good idea to do that. Because, it's that one time that somebody's guts flies out, right? Just because it's never been a problem before doesn't mean that the chance of it being a problem is non-existent. That just means that your version of the empirical evidence says that it's 100% successful for now. That's in your world. So don't take risk, man. Yeah, I don't put lithium under the hood at all. So W said, Puis fuego, Bobby Burkett. Bobby Burkett, stay safe, everybody. Bobby, where you going? You ain't going nowhere. Zaz said, better safe than sorry on the Sue issue. It's better safe than sorry on every issue, man. I just ain't, I ain't trying to. It's like my shit. I'm running at 2 ohms. I could run this amp at half an ohm. I know I can. It's not rated at half an ohm, but I could run my amps at a half an ohm, and I could more than double the power that I'm putting out right now. I'm running them at 2 ohms. Why? Because I don't want to burn my shit up. I don't want to blow up amplifiers. I don't want to break stuff. I would rather sacrifice, a chunk of the potential and be in a zone that's much less likely to cause damage to things than being right on the bleeding edge of what's possible. And, I just don't like to do that. There's no point in it. Everything about how I function, I always leave myself in everything that I'm thinking about, whatever I'm doing, I leave myself a nice fat safety margin in everything. Because inevitably you're going to wind up in that margin at some point, and you're going to wish you had one if you don't. No fusing, yeah. I fuse responsibly, not excessively, but responsibly. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Thank you for the information. I was curious because someone in the marketplace has one for sale for $800. Yeah, I would absolutely rather have the Truck Thunder Lithium 5K V2 or the 10K V2. That's my advice. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, I don't like losing my investment either, my friend. Dorian's DIY Audio. Hey, good to see you back to yourself. I do the best I can to be at least reasonably, doing okay. I mean, it's every day is a challenge. It's different challenges, but we work through it, man. You've got to reach down and find. You got to reach down and find the shit in yourself to get through, because you have no choice. The day's it's not gonna stop and wait for you. Your problems aren't going to step out of your way. They'll never step out of your way. They'll never bow to you and move over. Your problems and responsibilities and things that you have to deal with are just something that you're going to have to stab it until they're dead. You're going to have to smash your face through it until you bust a hole in it and get on the other side. And there's no other option. So it's best just to give it a run start and never slow down, man. Just keep bowling right through, because there's nothing else you can do, Anyway, you guys have any more questions for me today? I'll give you a short time here to think about it. If you got another question, be sure and throw it in the chat right now. Thank you, Jason. Jason said, I got to go slam that like button, slam that subscribe button, and support me. Thank you so much for that. Marco says, thank you for all you do, buddy. God bless you and your family. Thank you very much. And you guys, let's get the duck out of here.
Subwoofers are getting loud, you can feel the booming sound. Getting ready to go, got it shined up for the show. Hours charging, amps are amping, gonna let the woofers blow. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. We got more at home, another one bites the dust. Wires are glowing and the amps smoking, subs are cherry red. Let me keep jamming, gotta keep the bass slamming, gonna go hard till they're dead. Full power, gotta let it go, 20 hertz in the floating air. Sparks are flying, voice coils are frying, and the smoke is in the air. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. Hey, we got more at home. Another one bites the dust.